You're listening to international investment advisor Doug Goldstein on the Goldstein on Gelt show, the financial show where we'll talk about how you can make the most of your money. With all the confusing financial chatter bombarding you each and every day, Goldstein on Gelt will give you the practical information you want and need about living a financially stable life. Here's your host, money maven Doug Goldstein.
Hey, we are back. We are talking with Professor Sheizaf Rafaeli, who is the director of the Sagi Center for Internet Research, which was made possible by a grant from Ami and Teddy Sagi. And he's also the head of the Graduate School of Management at the University of Haifa here in Israel. In fact, he has his BA from Haifa University, his MA from Ohio State University, and an MA and PhD from Stanford University. So, Professor Rafaeli, it is a pleasure to have you with us on the show today.
A delight to be with you. Thank you for the invitation. Thanks.
Listen, we came across a lot of the work that you're doing, and one of them that sounded very interesting, at least to me, as my day job is an investment advisor, and I deal a lot with executives from companies, and we saw that you're dealing with this program where you've set up something called Games for Executives. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what is Games for Executives, who's it meant for, experienced people, students of business, and what it's all about.
Yeah, we noticed, and we're not the only ones to have noticed this, that games are attractive. Games on computers are especially attractive. And the combination of games, computers, and networks open up a completely new vista of opportunities to use entertainment as an engine for learning. And so we launched this initiative that uses already existing games and develops new games in the course of teaching managerial, business, and other concepts. Most of our students and audiences are adults. They're either MBA students or executives in corporations. But we've also been branching out into undergraduate education and even high school. The general movement is called serious games.
Serious games?
Serious games, game-based learning, but the catchy phrase is serious games. Games are a matter of fun and entertainment, but they're also probably the best way in which we learn things. We learn the most important things in life through play. We learned how to walk, we learned how to talk, we learned how to interact with other people, and it makes sense that we explore learning other, more complex and higher level subjects and topics through playing. The motivation in play is simply unstoppable. The opportunity to internalize lessons from play are better than internalizing lessons from a face-to-face lecture. And unlike other experiences in learning, you can't keep the students away from the material here. They just want to get more and more involved.
So what sort of lessons did they learn?
Well, we have a variety of games. We began with the more run-of-the-mill and familiar business games where the lay of the land is compete with others on some sort of a business setting, and you buy and sell stocks, or you compete on production plans, or you compete on a complex scenario that includes marketing and pricing and financial issues. But we branched out into other less explored territories, such as using games to learn how to negotiate, using games to learn skills in leadership, using games to learn processes such as recognizing ethical problems and dealing with them. We're heavily involved in building games in prediction markets and managing information. So there's a whole variety of skills, ideas, understanding, and even theory that can be taught through reading textbooks, but can probably be learned better through immersion and experience.
So these are basically role-playing games.
Some of them are role-playing games. Some of them are more trial and error with more abstract rather than role-playing. Some of them are more immersive and therefore more of that nature, World of Warcraft and the like. And some of them are more game theoretical, and you really need to abstract a question and imagine yourself without the accoutrements of the actual story. The interesting thing about these games that is common to all of them, and probably the most interesting to people looking at this from the outside, is the fact that in these games, unlike other games, you start playing without really knowing the rules. So traditional games, any traditional game, be it basketball or golf or chess or backgammon or whatever, you can't play without knowing the rules in advance. You need to have internalized all the rules before you can make the first move. In serious games, in game-based learning, one of the more important characteristics is that you're exposed to the problem without really knowing what the game rules are. And so what you engage in is a lot of testing, a lot of trial and error, a lot of hypothesis formation, and then checking the hypotheses. So these games are first and foremost an exercise in scientific thinking. Here's a situation, try to come up with your own rules and check them against reality.
Are all of these games computer interface games, like with graphics, or is it more...
Yes.
Okay.
The short answer is yes. That's what we're interested in. At our center, the Center for the Study of the Internet, our departure point is an interest in computers and networks and what they do. We study, in other contexts, we study their impact on organizations, on management, on return on investment, and on matters of that nature. In this case, we asked ourselves a simple question: what difference do computers and networks make in the process of learning? How should my job as a professor in a university be done differently now that we have computers and networks? And so that's our departure point. How can we harness computers and networks in the course of teaching? And the answer cannot be more just rote learning. It should not be just more storage of information, and cannot just rely on more powerful search engines. We need to do more, and this area of simulation in games is just a simple and very attractive answer.
Is this very theoretical, or are there corporations that are sending their management teams to you in order to improve their skills?
We're training many corporate manager groups. We've had over 3,000 corporate managers from various corporations in Israel and abroad as well come through our programs. We have managers in government institutions, banking institutions, military institutions, and also working with high school students, as I mentioned earlier. We are working very hard on growing the collection of games that we have and the variety of topics that we can address. We've done games with Hebrew-speaking audiences, English-speaking audiences, working on some other languages as well. This notion of serious games is spreading like wildfire around the world. People are discovering the utility and the attraction of these tools. We're not the only ones, but we're trying to be the leaders here in Israel. We're also trying to be the leaders in non-English speaking countries, because while this is very well developed in North America, it is only just gaining ground, gaining traction in other countries. And the opportunities in countries where Russian or Arabic or Spanish or other languages are spoken are just immense. And we're looking at that also as an export.
Are there third-party audits of the results to see if people who actually engage in these games do become better businessmen, for example?
Absolutely. There's a vibrant literature, scientific and academic literature, as well as professional and trade-oriented literature. There's a wide variety of books on the subject. I'll mention later our website. We're trying to put together a comprehensive bibliography, and there are hundreds of evaluation studies that look at the validity of this sort of training and its short and medium-term impact. We don't have long-term impact measures yet, because the whole idea has only been around for a few years. So we can't say anything about many, many years of impact. But in terms of short-term, in terms of retention of concepts, in terms of bringing the insights from the game to your workplace, and in terms of self-report, as well as in terms of subordinate reports and managerial report, it's a clear winner. Games are a great opportunity to figure out and explore problems that occur in the workplace. It's a great opportunity to try out notions such as reorganizing or resetting streams of operation, reporting lines, policies. Simulation is widely used in other fields. I mean, you wouldn't even consider flying in a plane the pilot hasn't simulated flight earlier. You wouldn't consider going to battle without having simulated in some way. And our take is, if this works well for piloting or for military, if it's making waves in medicine and so forth, it should also make its way in learning and teaching and in the training of managers.
Okay. Professor Sheizaf Rafaeli, who is the director of the Sagi Center for Internet Research, which was made possible by a grant from Ami and Tere Sagi, and is the head of the Graduate School of Management at the University of Haifa. It's very, very interesting what you're doing for the business world in and out of Israel. Maybe just for the last question, you could tell people how they can learn more or find out more about your program.
Absolutely. I encourage people to look us up on the web. We have a website. Its URL is games.yeda, YEDA.info. Yeda, for those who don't speak Hebrew, is knowledge. So it's games.yeda, YEDA.info. On that website, we have pointers to bibliography, some descriptions of the games and activities we do, some of the corporate ties that we have, and a general invitation for anyone interested in more information or interaction with us to just contact us.
That sounds great. Once again, Professor Rafaeli, I would like to thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Take care now.
You've been listening to the Goldstein on Gelt show with money maven Doug Goldstein. Doug's weekly radio show is heard around the world, but if you miss it, you can download the podcast at www.goldsteinongelt.com. The Goldstein on Gelt show gives you up-to-date financial ideas so you can get on the path to financial freedom. If you'd like your questions answered on the air or off, send Doug an email to doug@profile-financial.com. It's your money for your future, so join Doug every week to build your wealth on the Goldstein on Gelt show.